My name is Margaret Chen, and I'm 68 years old. For 40 years, I ran the most successful independent bookstore chain in the Pacific Northwest, 12 locations that became community landmarks. I built this from a single storefront with borrowed money and endless determination. I never thought the person who would try to destroy me would be my own sister. This is how I discovered Jessica's betrayal, and how I made sure she faced the consequences. It started last spring, April, to be exact. I began experiencing symptoms I couldn't explain. Crushing headaches that would wake me at dawn. A persistent ringing in my ears that made conversations difficult. Waves of confusion that left me disoriented in my own home. At first, I blamed stress. Managing a business empire isn't easy, even after decades. But these symptoms felt different, invasive, wrong. My doctor, Dr. Patricia Winters, ran comprehensive tests. Neurological exams, brain scans, blood work. Everything came back normal. Sometimes the body responds to prolonged stress in unexpected ways, she told me gently. Perhaps it's time to consider reducing your workload. But I knew my body. I'd survived a stroke 5 years ago, rebuilt myself through grueling physical therapy. This wasn't stress. This was something else entirely. Then Jessica moved in. Jessica is my younger sister, 8 years younger. Growing up, we'd been close, but adulthood had created distance. She'd moved to Seattle for a tech career that promised everything but delivered little. When her startup collapsed last year, she lost everything. Her apartment, her savings, even her car got repossessed. "Maggie, I have nowhere else to go," she'd said over the phone, her voice breaking. "Just until I get back on my feet. Please." What kind of sister would I be if I said no? My house in Portland had plenty of room, 4 bedrooms overlooking the river. Since my husband Daniel died 3 years ago, the space felt too large anyway. Company would be welcome. "Stay as long as you need," I told her. "We're family." She arrived with 2 suitcases and gratitude in her eyes. "I won't forget this, Maggie. I promise I'll make it up to you." For the first few weeks, everything seemed perfect. Jessica cooked my favorite meals, kept the house immaculate, accompanied me to business meetings when I felt unsteady. She was attentive, loving, constantly asking about my well-being. "You should rest more," she'd say, bringing me herbal supplements. "These will help with your energy levels." My sister had transformed into the perfect caretaker. After years of distance, we were finally reconnecting. It felt like a gift, a silver lining to my mysterious illness. But my symptoms were getting worse. By June, I could barely function some mornings. The confusion became so severe that twice I forgot important client meetings. My trembling hands made signing documents nearly impossible. Jessica's response was to become even more devoted. She'd bring me special smoothies each morning, packed with vitamins and antioxidants, she'd explain. She insisted on preparing all my meals personally, dismissing our housekeeper Maria's offers to help. "I want to do this myself," Jessica would say. "You've done so much for me. It's my turn to care for you." Something about her insistence made me uncomfortable, though I couldn't articulate why. Maria noticed too. One afternoon, while Jessica was out, Maria approached me hesitantly. "Mrs. Chen, forgive me, but your sister purchases strange items. Unusual powders, bottles with labels she tears off. She keeps them in her room, locked in a cabinet." "What kind of powders?" "I don't know. But she's very particular about who prepares your food now. She doesn't want anyone else in the kitchen when she's cooking for you." That conversation planted a seed of doubt. That night, after Jessica went to sleep, I searched the kitchen thoroughly. I found nothing unusual in the main cabinets. But in a locked drawer, one I didn't remember locking, I discovered a small key hidden behind the utensil organizer. The key opened a cabinet in the pantry. Inside were bottles I'd never seen before. Some were labeled supplements. Others had medical-looking labels I couldn't fully read in the dim light. One bottle caught my attention, partially scraped label, dark glass, nearly empty. I heard Jessica's bedroom door open. My heart pounding, I quickly locked the cabinet and returned to my room. "Maggie? Are you up?" Jessica called out. "Just getting water," I managed. "Let me get it for you. You should be resting." Her insistence, once touching, now felt sinister. I made a decision that would save my life. I installed hidden cameras. I told no one, not Maria, not my business partner Robert, not even my lawyer. I called a security company I'd never used before, paid cash, and had them install tiny cameras in the kitchen, living room, and hallways while Jessica was out job hunting. For 3 days, I reviewed nothing. I was terrified of what I might find. On the 4th day, I finally watched the kitchen footage from that morning. What I saw made my blood run cold. There was Jessica at 6:15 a.m., before I'd woken up. She moved through the kitchen with familiar efficiency, my morning smoothie, just like always. She added bananas, berries, yogurt, the usual ingredients. Then she paused. She looked toward the doorway, checking if anyone might see. Satisfied she was alone, she retrieved a small bottle from her pocket. With careful, practiced movements, she unscrewed the cap and tapped a grayish powder into my smoothie. She stirred thoroughly, ensuring complete dissolution, then rinsed the spoon and returned the bottle to her pocket. No hesitation. No guilt in her expression. Just cold, methodical precision. I watched the recording 7 times. Each viewing confirmed the horror. My sister was poisoning me. But with what? And why? I needed answers before confronting her. I needed evidence that would be irrefutable. While Jessica was out the next day, I found the bottle in her room. It was hidden in a locked box under her bed, a box I managed to open with a bobby pin, my hands shaking so badly I could barely work the lock. The bottle's label had been mostly removed, but enough remained for me to make out critical words: thallium sulfate, highly toxic, industrial use only, keep away from. Thallium. I looked it up immediately on my phone. A heavy metal, virtually tasteless, once common in rat poison before being banned for toxicity. Symptoms of poisoning: neurological problems, confusion, tremors, hair loss, vision problems. Every symptom I'd been experiencing. But why would Jessica have this? Why would she do this? I found my answer in another box, this one containing documents. My will, with sections highlighted. Property assessments for my house and bookstore locations. Insurance policies with beneficiary information. And most damning, a handwritten timeline titled "After." The timeline detailed everything from discovery of body, to estate settlement, to business liquidation. Jessica had calculated everything. She'd even written notes about which real estate agents to contact, which of my assets would sell quickest. At the bottom of the documents, I found a draft letter addressed to me. Dearest Maggie, by the time this reaches you, you'll be at peace. I know these months have been hard, watching your health decline. But please understand, everything I did came from love. You were suffering, and I couldn't bear watching you deteriorate slowly. I promise to honor your legacy, to manage the bookstores with the care you would have wanted. Your sacrifice won't be in vain. My hands trembled as I read. Jessica had crafted a narrative where she was the merciful sister, ending my suffering she'd caused. And she'd positioned herself to inherit everything. I wasn't just being murdered. I was being erased and rewritten. I called my lawyer, Thomas Brennan, from a coffee shop downtown. Thomas, I need your help with something unusual. And I need complete discretion. I explained everything, the cameras, the poison, the documents. Thomas listened in horrified silence. Margaret, we need to call the police immediately. Not yet. I want her confession. I want her to incriminate herself completely so there's no possibility of claiming she didn't understand what she was doing. That's extremely dangerous. More dangerous than letting her finish what she started. Thomas agreed to help, reluctantly. Together, we crafted a plan. Over the next week, I pretended my health was rapidly declining. I stumbled more, complained of worsening symptoms, took to my bed for hours. Jessica's response was exactly what we'd predicted. She became more attentive, more insistent that I drink the special smoothies, more eager to prepare all my food. On Thursday, I told her I wanted to update my will. Just a precaution, I said weakly. In case something happens. Her eyes lit up with barely concealed excitement. That's probably wise, Maggie. Have you thought about what changes you want to make? Yes. I want to leave you the business. All of it. The transformation in her expression was instant, from fake concern to genuine triumph. She tried to hide it, but I saw. For just a moment, the mask slipped completely. Thomas came to the house Friday afternoon with documents. We staged everything carefully, my revised will giving Jessica controlling interest in my business empire, plus the house and most of my savings. Jessica sat beside my bed, trying to appear humble while her leg bounced with barely suppressed excitement. After Thomas left, Jessica brought me another smoothie. Your favorite, she said sweetly. Blueberry and banana. I held the glass, feeling its weight. Inside was poison, maybe enough to kill me this time. Jessica watched me intently, waiting. Jessica, I said quietly, I need to tell you something. What is it? I know what you've been doing. Her smile faltered. I don't understand. Don't you? Should we talk about the thallium? The color drained from her face. Maggie, I don't. I have cameras, Jessica. I've watched you poison me for months. I found the bottle in your room. I found your timeline, your plans for after. She stood abruptly, backing toward the door. You're confused. Your illness. My illness that you've been causing. Week after week. Slowly destroying my nervous system while pretending to care for me. Tears filled her eyes, whether from genuine emotion or panic, I couldn't tell. I didn't mean for it to be like this. Then what did you mean? I needed help. After the bankruptcy, I had nothing. You had everything. It wasn't fair. So you decided to kill me? I thought it would be peaceful. Like going to sleep. The research said. What research, Jessica? She realized her mistake immediately, but it was too late. I want to call my lawyer, she whispered. Good idea. Because the police are already on their way. They've been listening to this entire conversation. As if on cue, there was knocking at the door. Jessica's legs gave out, and she collapsed onto the floor, sobbing. The officers were respectful but firm. They tested the smoothie, positive for thallium. They collected the bottles from Jessica's room. They reviewed the camera footage Thomas had provided. Jessica was arrested for attempted murder, possession of a controlled substance with intent to harm, and fraud related to my life insurance policy, which I'd discovered she'd increased 6 months ago, listing herself as beneficiary. As they led her away in handcuffs, she looked at me one final time. "I'm your sister," she said desperately. "How can you do this to family? You stopped being my sister the first time you poisoned me. I don't know what you became after that." The trial lasted 4 months. Jessica's defense tried everything, claiming I was confused, suggesting the evidence was fabricated, arguing she hadn't understood the severity of thallium poisoning. But the evidence was overwhelming. Video footage, medical records showing my improvement after I stopped consuming her smoothies, the documents detailing her plans, testimony from Maria about her suspicious behavior. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. Jessica received 18 years in prison. I've received letters from her, 3 so far. I haven't opened any of them. Whatever she needs to say, I don't need to hear. My health has fully recovered. The neurological symptoms resolved once the poison left my system. I've returned to managing my bookstores, though now with a renewed appreciation for every day. People ask if I miss having a sister. The truth is, I miss the sister I thought I had, the girl I grew up with, who used to read books with me in our childhood treehouse. But that person either never existed or disappeared long ago. What Jessica became, calculating, cold, willing to murder for money, that's not family. That's a stranger who shared my DNA. I'm 68 years old. I survived because I trusted my instincts, because I documented everything, because I refused to be a victim. And every morning, when I make my own smoothie in my own kitchen, I'm grateful to be alive. Sometimes justice does prevail. But only when you fight for it yourself.